Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. Happy Friday, Inga. How are you? Hey, sis. I'm dragging this morning, sis. I haven't had my coffee. I have it here ready, but I haven't had my coffee. And Thursday night services just be a little too long for me. You know, when you had a full day and then my bedtime is 8:30. Me and my son's bedtime is 8:30, so it is definitely tough for us to go to services on Thursdays, but we go. Okay, we go. Nonetheless, I woke up. Thank you. I woke up and I'm here. I prayed this morning. I gotta pray again when I get to my office, and I'm having a good day. Good morning so far. It's been a great week. Been a great week. No drama. Having the point of it is I'm having tough. He said, I'm well, how are you? That I understand. Yes, it's like, you know what, Lord? Days like yesterday where I was tired, I could have just jumped on the Zoom. But one thing is that, and I'm going to do a video on this, is, pushing past what you don't want to do. Just push past that and do it. And, there may be a reward, there may be some immediate satisfaction, but the point is that you push past the mindset of, I don't want to do this. And usually we give in, we give in. And we give in to the things that we don't want to do because, especially as adults, we don't have to. It's like I'm grown. I don't got to. So not settling into that and pushing past that. And though I was tired and, I kind of just, woke up and because I was tired last night, I did not properly prep for this morning. You guys are gonna have to forgive me. I know I'm looking very glazy, very what we say, greased up. I did my skincare. It's early. I did my skincare this morning. Of course, do skincare every morning, but I did my skincare this morning, and it hasn't settled into the face. So we look a little different. This is my first time wearing square lenses, and they're okay. But good morning, Tony Nixon. Good morning. They're okay. They look okay. I wouldn't say that I'm a square glasses face type of girl, but they look all right. For sure. Inga says, yes, I'm working on pushing past my feelings and moving forward with my passion. Amen. Absolutely. Because we be feeling stuff. I know I can say that. I be feeling the feelings. Okay, my feelings got feelings. And sometimes we do have to push past that. I'm sorry if y'all have a lot of air in the phone. I just turned the vent off. But yeah, we do have to push past that and kind of come into it with a level-headed mind, which eases me right into the topic today. So good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Elvira Valdez, and this is EFP Media. Here we explore faith, wellness, personal growth, and journaling. And today we are going to be speaking on within the personal growth aspect of the channel. And it's all about, having hard conversations with grace and freedom. With grace, humility, and freedom. And sometimes those tough conversations can make you feel overwhelming initially, but the more you have them, the more comfortable you become in having them. So I wanted to talk about that. Just, throughout my life, I've had experience that we all have, and we all can testify to that. So as we lean into today, I want you all, or going into the weekend, I want you all to really think about the conversation we're going to have today. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because sometimes we run from tough conversations, or we run from intense interactions because of whatever reason. It could be anxiety, fear, what's going to be the outcome, confrontation. Those are some of the trigger words as to why people choose not to have tough conversations. So as we are navigating life, you're going to have tough conversations, whether you like it or not. Either someone is going to bring a tough conversation to you, or you're going to have to be the one to have the tough conversation with others. Either way, it's going to happen. No matter how peaceful you are, no matter how loving you are, no matter how humble you are, it does not matter. Some point in your life, you're going to have opposition, and you're going to have a tough conversation. But how do we have a tough conversation in a world that don't want to hear the truth? As sensitive as I am, I honor people who are honest with me versus people who are indifferent. It's a level of respect that I have for people that can address an issue with grace and humility. That is something that I honor and I cherish. And it's also a craft that I'm learning how to do myself. I am not an expert at this at all. I'm working on it, as I tell you all the time, through my faith with God and my journey with Jesus. Like, I'm learning so much about being a humble person. And humble doesn't mean you shrink yourself. Humble doesn't mean you allow people to walk all over you. Humble to me just means that you speak from a place of patience, humility, which is humble. But when I use the word humility, I'm just saying that you're listening. Is that better? Yes. You're listening. You're not listening to respond. You're not listening to have a rebuttal. You're not cutting people off before they can finish their thought. Let the person talk. Let the person talk. Because typically when we cut people off, and we're trying to get our thoughts out, but that's unfair to the person that's speaking, because they're actually in the middle of a thought. And one thing that I've had to learn is how to train that muscle in my brain to hold what I have to say and then say it later. Now, keep in mind, I'm 34. I can do that. If you older in age, I'm not saying that you should be able to do that. I'm also not saying it's an excuse either. But it is something that you have to build up. You got to train yourself to take mental notes, so that when you're having tough conversations, you're not cutting the person off. That has caused a lot of heated arguments in my life, where I was having a tough conversation with someone, and the moment they said something that I was in opposition with, I cut them off mid-sentence, went in, talked for like 5-10 minutes, and then by the time I'm done talking, they don't even have nothing else to say. Didn't lead me nowhere. we didn't have a fruitful conversation by doing that to them. So now I'm learning how to, okay, this person said this, let me make a mental note. If you can't make a mental note, maybe you need to get your phone and take your actual notes out in your app on your phone and write down little targets that you want to speak on. Let me tell you who told me that trick. My uncle. I went to him. I was talking to him about some personal matters. And he said, when this person is speaking, you be quiet. He said, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Let them speak. He said, because when you cut them off, that's going to tick them off, because they're trying to express themselves and they're unable. You keep cutting them off. So he says, don't cut them off. And if you think that you're not going to be able to remember what that person said, then you need to take your notes out or take your phone out and make a note so you don't forget. And that was really good advice, because when I did have a conversation with the individual, I didn't have to take my notes out, because I could just make mental notes on what was taking place. But the point is, it taught me patience, and it taught me to let the person finish speaking, so that way I can have a clear, so first of all, so they can't accuse me of putting words in their mouth, so that I can see clarity so I can see clarity for what they are saying. Like, what are you saying? What are you like? Okay, so let me get clarification. You are saying this because of XYZ, whatever, right? You made an assumption about this because of XYZ, whatever. Okay, cool. Now let me respond to that. So that's one way that we can kind of like look into things and stuff like that. But like I said, having tough conversations are definitely going to feel scary until you just start having them. And then now it's just like, because I always look at it like this: what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? I had a life before this person came into my life. I'm going to have a life after this person leaves my life. Will it be hurt? Will it be hard? Absolutely. But am I going to allow this to take me over to the point it leads me into, certain spiritual warfare that I don't want to be in? No. But grace invites us to speak truth without tearing others down. Sometimes in my speech in the past, I have been a person that was a little harsh, a little straight to the point, blunt, no fluff. And that has its place. I share with you guys in transparency that oftentimes I was always reminded that it wasn't what I said, it was how I said it. And having grace and humility helps us listen, even when we feel misunderstood. That is the hardest thing. When you feel misunderstood, when someone misunderstands you, throws attacks at you, triggers you, that's the hardest. That's where real growth takes place. I should have kept going. I should have kept going, but I said no. Go on, stop that thing, Elvira. I should have just. I thank God I got brakes. Okay. What I was saying. Oh, yes. Especially when you feel misunderstood, or someone triggers you, or someone is throwing attacks at you. That is the hardest time. That is where real growth takes place. And you're like, okay, all right, let me take a chill pill, because I'm about to woo. Like, I don't want to say the wrong thing to you today. Okay. So when that happens, you have to really just keep calm. I post a breathing technique that I actually use when I'm in these very high intensity environments, moments, conversations. I practice breath work. I really do. I start breathing. If I feel very anxious and, I'm kind of like feeling like real jittery on the inside, I start breathing, or I scan my body. I tune into my body, and instead of focusing on the anxious feeling, I might start thinking about my toes, like, okay, like, feel your toes right now, like, actually be with your toes. And it sounds weird at first, but what you're doing is that you're reverting your mind from the anxious feeling and you're pushing it into a place where, think about your hands, think about the way, like even breathing or the inhale, exhale, like all of those things. I just kind of do a body scan. And from there, I try to calm myself down, and it helps. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It ain't a secret medicine. But sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. But respect reminds us that we're not trying to win a fight. We're trying to win with peace. We're trying to seek understanding. We're trying to express ourselves. We may be trying to set a boundary with a person. And listen, you can be as calm as you choose. You can try to communicate as effectively as you may. And the person that you're talking to just don't get it. The person that you're talking to just don't care. The person that you're talking to is unhinged, and they're gonna be disrespectful, and they're gonna try to, attack you, do all of these things, call your names, talk about your mama, all these different things. That just lets you know where they are mentally in their personal growth section of their life, and you just leave it be. You leave it be. You move on to go on to, like I say all the time, go on to the next thing, Elvira. You just go on to the next thing and you leave them be. Now, this may be easier said than done if you have to share a space with this person. But if you don't got to share a space with this person and all you got to do is hang up the phone. Oh, I'm hanging up the phone. I got to go. You ain't going to talk to me like that. I'll hang up that phone so fast, you ain't even got to think about it. Okay, I will be so nice about it. I will be so nice. I am very nice about it. I would say, you know what? You're expressing a lot. I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone and we can talk about this at a later time. And before they respond, click. Click. You can't slam the phones no more. We ain't got them rotary. You ain't got, hurt their ear. Now you just go, click, boop, boop. End the conversation. End the conversation. Because you're going to have disrespectful people out there that's really not trying to hear your point of view, that don't care about your point of view. But when you lean into tough conversations with the right posture, even if the person you're talking to isn't receiving it well, it's something that's shifting inside of you. And that's the point, because we can't control other people. We all know that. We're all grown, hopefully. We're all grown. So we know we can't control other people. But what happens is that you release pent up emotions that you didn't even know that you were carrying. You express yourself in a way that is effective. Regardless of how that person perceives what you are saying, if you know you are speaking as respectful as you can at the stage and where you are doing your best. That's all that counts. That's all that counts. Don't worry about the other person. I know Sister Paulette has said it on her channel. The apology is for you, not them. The forgiveness is for you, not them. And that is so true. That is very true. I'm experiencing that in an area of my life where my forgiveness for an individual is for me, not for them. And I have to accept it and move on and be happy about it, And then you also, when you learn how to have effective communication and have these tough conversations, you make space for something that's much deeper within you to kind of tap into that communication skill where you're going to be more honest in your relationships. Not with the fluff, not with everything is all peaches and cream and rainbows and flowers and all of these things. No. But you're going to be honest in your relationships where you're going to feel more confident setting a boundary, especially with those that you love and those that you don't know. Sometimes we can set boundaries with those that we sometimes we can set boundaries with those that we love faster than we can set boundaries with those that we don't have an emotional connection with. And that's not fair to you, because you need to set those same boundaries that you have with your, with your personal relationships. You need to set those same boundaries with your work relationships, the people at the grocery store, people who talk to you in church. Just because you go to church don't mean that you can't set a boundary with someone and speak up for yourself. Doesn't mean that at all. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm working on, realizing that just because we in church, or just because I'm at work, or just because I'm in a grocery store and I don't know you, I can still set a boundary with you, and I can also let you know your place in my life. And that's one thing that I think I'm learning, is that even in a church setting, I think people need to understand that, yeah, we go to church together, but keep in mind, I don't know you. I don't know you. So you don't come up on me, you don't come up on my kid, just start talking. You talk to me. You know what I mean? So I think setting boundaries, now I'm going on to another thing, but it's just an experience, and I experienced it more than once. And I'm like, I think some people really need to get it in their brains that just because you see me frequent a place, just because you see me out at the grocery store, just because you see me, at the gas station on Thursdays, don't mean you know me. That just means you know my schedule. Okay? So yeah, before I go on to something else that ain't got nothing to do with this video, let me drop Legend off and then finish up this video, y'all. Hey, Sister Callie, how are you? You finished with this apple?
Yes.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Legend, push the button.
Oh, sorry, Legend. Is this yours?
It's his.
Oh, okay.
Have a good day.
Have a great day. All right, Legend. Bye.
Bye. I did all that talking. I ain't even drink none of my coffee. Thank you for those that have liked the video. If you can like the video for me. This morning we are talking about having tough conversations or hard conversations. And you can go ahead. You go ahead. Having tough conversations with grace and humility, which leads to freedom. And it also teaches you, it's like it becomes a superpower. It becomes a superpower, which is awesome. So yes, what I was gonna say. Yes, where was I going? Okay. Also, another thing is that when we don't have those conversations, sometimes we will start having, like, replaying the scenario in our head over and over and over again. And what that does, it puts your brain on a loop. And then you start making up stuff that didn't happen. Then you start creating this whole movie production in your head. None of that is real. None of that took place. That did not happen. That never happened. And sometimes when I started doing this, I started realizing this as a trait or a flaw back in 2022, where I was playing out scenarios in my head about certain stuff. And I was like, Elvira, that did not happen. You're making that up. That didn't happen. So when you have these conversations with people, when you have the hard conversations with people, it happens. And you can't make up what happened, because it happened. And you can kind of gauge how you want it to happen, right? But also you can't control the outcome because you're dealing with another human being, so you don't know how that person is going to receive the information given to them. But what you can control is yourself. So therefore you could say and hit all of the things that you want to say. And sometimes when you're feeling really deep emotions, you might want to write down how you feel and what you want to say, so that way when you do get on the phone with the person or meet them in person, you can have the conversation and not deviate from that. Because that's one thing I've noticed about certain people who struggle from certain mental health issues. They tend to gaslight you, try to make you think that what you're saying is not what you're saying, try to finesse the situation to make it that, try to flip the conversation to what's not really the problem, so you don't talk about the real problem. People who have those mental health characteristics, we all know what the psychologist or psychology term for that person is. However, the point that I'm making is that it's very important to stay on topic when you're discussing a hard conversation. Do not let the person deviate the conversation to talk about pineapples when you are strictly talking about the apples. Because what that does is that it deviates you from the real problem, and now you're talking about a minor problem, a minor flaw. And trust me, that is the most frustrating thing to deal with a person who struggles with mental health issues. When you are trying to have a constructive conversation about apples and they keep talking about pineapples, that is frustrating. And get the context. Apples, Honey Crisp apples, but they want to talk about pineapples. I see what you did there, but we're not talking about pineapples. We're talking about apples, Honey Crisp apples at that. But the pineapples is an adjacent, catch the wordplay, to the behavior, which is actually the problem, which is the Honey Crisp apples. But this person wants to talk about the adjacent problem to deviate from the major problem. We're not doing that. We're going back to the apples. So this is a technique that I have had to learn, how to guide the person back to the apples, guide the person back to the apples, guide the person back to the apples. So one day I just realized, you know what? You don't want to talk about the apples because the apples is the real problem and you just don't want to talk about it. But guess what? I'm going to talk about it. But it didn't get me anywhere because the person had a mental health issue. So no matter how much I talked about the apples, they didn't care. And that was a waste of time. That's also very important to know, guys. When you realize that you're trying to have a constructive conversation with a person and they are not hearing you, they want to talk about the pineapples, you want to stick on the Honey Crisp apples, they're not listening to you or nothing like that, listen, just go on and get up out of there. Just pack up and leave, okay? Because you're not going to get anywhere and it's just going to frustrate you more. You're going to be frustrated more that you are trying to have a constructive conversation and all you keep getting is gaslit. They're not listening to nothing that you're saying. They keep deviating the conversation, twisting up your words. Oh my gosh, that is one thing too. So once again, we focus on ourselves and not the opposite person or the opposing person. So we focus on ourselves. So focusing on ourselves will teach us that, you know what? I see what this person is doing. I don't see this going anywhere. I'm going to exit the conversation now. So what if they think they won? So what if they got the upper hand? So what if they cussed you out? It's okay. It hurts, but it's okay. Because you walk away with your dignity. You walk away with realizing you're a jerk or you're rude or you know what, Child, please. And you have a better path of healing that than stepping out of character and meeting them where they are. You're gonna feel even more icky about yourself walking away, knowing that you done said a lot of horrible things to that person. You done talk about that person, mama, daddy, their grandma, and they ain't got nothing to do with the conversation. You just telling them off because you mad and they done pissed you off, and now now the grandma in it. And what she got to do with it? What she got to do with it? You know what I mean? So, child, I'm talking from experience. But it's relatable. And what did we talk about Wednesday morning? Sharing creates relatability. Y'all don't know the details, but I say it like this, I honestly believe certain people, you really have to push them to that point to make them feel like, now I gotta talk about your grandma. Now I gotta talk about your mama. Cause your mama and daddy raised this, like, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I'm not making excuses. So I'm gonna go on to the next thing. I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning how to just keep it on there. It's 6 of y'all. Can can 4 of y'all like the video? All right. So what we learned here is that expressing ourselves is what we need to do. But before we do that, we definitely want to pray first. I don't know whoever's religious belief is, but if whatever your religious belief is, or if you have one, pray first. Pray first. Let your heart be softened. Matter of fact, sometimes if you feeling real intense, if you feeling real saucy about the situation, you might need to write out a little letter, go in your app if you got an iPhone. If you got a smartphone, go in your voice audio and hit record and just start talking. Just everything you want to say that's just rude, disrespectful, how you really feel about it, put it in there. Put it in the voice memo. Get it all out your system. And then delete it. Don't go back and listen to it because you just said some crazy stuff, okay? But just delete it. But you get it out your system. Do it a couple more times to get it out your system before you go to this person. Because one thing about it, I never intend to burn bridges because I never know what they say, cliche. I never know when I'm going to have to cross them again. I never know when I'm going to see this person and I may be in need. And people hold grudges, People hold grudges, People will hold grudges and make you feel like it'll be 3 years and they still mad. And you like, you still mad? Because me, y'all, I'm not like that. Even when I was in my flesh, and I'm still in my flesh, but even when I used to like allow my flesh and my tongue to be a sword and, bring division and cause confusion and just do all kinds of things, I'll cut somebody out or go off on somebody in 30, 45 minutes, I'm good. If they called me, I'd be like, hey, you can call it what you want, but I just get it out. And once I get it out, I'm not going back. It's done now. I'm not going to, I ain't going to do that. That's not me. I don't hold grudges. But there are people in this world that hold grudges. Seriously. They hold grudges and they feel away and they will treat you away for a long time. And I'm like, dang, here I go. Dang, that was yesterday. You still mad at me? Dang, that was 2 weeks ago. You still mad at me? Dang, that was an hour ago. You still mad at me? That's me, y'all. But I realize that everyone is not built like that. There's some people that really be holding grudges. I'll be like, look, let's get it out. Boom. All right, we said what we needed to say, and let's go on to the next thing. So, yes, Callie, while I'm at the stoplight, let me respond. You said, how do you deal with someone who's trying to manipulate you and act out of character? To act out of character. It kind of goes back to the scenario in which I shared about, I want to talk about apples and a person wants to talk about pineapples. The thing is that manipulation, when you're aware of the manipulation and you're aware of the tactics, like this person has a sequence of tactics. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? So they're going to keep doing the same sequence of tactics to kind of trigger you into manipulating you to react a certain way. The hard part in that situation is that you have to gain control over yourself. So one thing that I do is that I practice my breathing. When I get frustrated or I feel like someone is trying to manipulate me or insult my intelligence, that is the number. Ooh, I cannot stand for somebody to tell me, and I shared this with y'all, to insult my intelligence and tell me that the sky that is blue and white right now is green and purple. When I'm looking at the sky and I see that the sky is blue and white, and you telling me it's green and purple, we got a problem. And that's where I'm saying, like, when you realize that someone is trying to insult your intelligence, someone is trying to manipulate you, gaslight you, and you feel all of these emotions, you have to take a pause. You have to take a pause. You have to breathe. You have to, like, center yourself. It is going to be hard because guess what? Your body is used to reacting. So you have to build that muscle up to say, I'm not going to react to this. This person is being an idiot. This person is being a jerk. This person is being rude. This person is being manipulative. Call it all the things that it is. This person is being, oh, this is a narcissist. This is a narc. This is what they do. This is what they do. I'm going to let them rock out. And let them rock out. It's going to be hard because you're going to want to cuss them out. Okay? You're going to want to pop them. Now, I ain't talking about no domestic violence or any type of violence, but I'm just saying, sometimes you just want to pop somebody, but you can't, okay? So, with that being said, I'm honest, I'm real, okay? Sometimes people need to be popped. Sometimes people act the way they do because they ain't been popped hard enough, okay? So, if I could pop you to get some sense up in you, I'm going to pop you now. But I don't put my hands on folks because I can't do that. That's an assault charge. That's an assault charge. But sometimes people need to be popped. Anyway, let me stop joking, y'all. That's all a joke. That's all a joke. Please catch the joke. I pray y'all catch the joke. Hey, sis. Yes, you caught me. You caught me early. I know it's like, ooh, girl, I know it's early over there with you because it's 7:43 here. So I'm about to read y'all comments, but to finish up Callie's question that she asked me, hey, Simple Me, to finish up Callie's question that she asked me, Callie, you have to, it's hard. It's very hard to do. It's not easy, and it's not going to happen overnight. But what you have to learn, what we have to develop is self-control. So when I feel that way, when I'm feeling super anxious, like I want to go off on this person or I want to tell them about themselves, I breathe. And I deep breathe, and I put the breathing exercise on my page for people to go to at any time at your leisure. But you inhale 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, release it for 8 seconds. Do that about 10 times. Do this while this person is talking to you crazy. Do this while this person is getting on your nerves. Do this while this person is trying to manipulate you. Do this while this person is gaslighting you. When you want to talk about the Honeycrisp apples and they want to talk about pineapples, start breathing, because you see that, okay, here they go, they about to go. And once they're done, you say to them, you know what, I try to have a fruitful conversation with you, and unfortunately I don't think that you're taking this conversation in the right direction. And then again, we don't want to say that, because one thing about it too, y'all, we're the ones with the common sense. Okay, we're the ones with the sense. So we can't first of all, we can't accuse them of anything. So I have to retract that statement. We can't say, well, you aren't, because if you tell them they not doing something, that's a whole nother thing. Now they talking about watermelons, and we don't want that. We want to be productive And if we accuse them of something, then they're going to start talking about something else. So the hard part in it all is that when you see that the conversation is going left, and as it's going left, if you're in this person's face and you feel very tense, I recommend doing a breathing exercise. I recommend scanning your body so you feel anxious, but think about, take your mind to your feet, take your mind to your hands, your back, your legs. Like, go just scan your body and see where the emotion is coming in at. Like, where is this emotion sitting at in me? And when you find it, just focus in that area and start breathing to help decompress yourself the way you need. And thank you, sis. And that way it will, help the situation, and then remove yourself from the situation. Then get on up out of there. Get on up out of there. They don't want to listen. They ain't got time. They trying to tell you how they feel about it. It's not that you don't care about how they feel about it, but we just not doing that today. So with that being said, you have to remove yourself and just shut it down and be like, you know what? I don't feel like this conversation is leading in the direction I wanted it to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you go, and we could talk about this at another time. And that's just a peaceful way to get them off the phone. And then you just go on to the next thing. And if you don't want to talk about it no more than after that, then don't talk about it no more than after that. Because when you're dealing with someone who doesn't take accountability, you are wasting your time. When you are dealing with someone who doesn't take accountability, you are wasting your time. When no one around them holds them accountable, why do you think you're going to be able to do it? That's too much. That's too much work. If your mama never held you accountable, if your daddy never held you accountable, if your sisters, brothers, cousins, best friends don't hold that person accountable, why do you think you are going to be able to do it? You're going to be the problem. You're going to be the odd one out. So, see your way out the situation and tell them bye. And don't talk to them no more. Nah, I wouldn't say that because I don't know the conversation with that person. But just let them go. It was hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It is hard. You're going to cry many a days. Because you're going to feel like, dang, like you're going to be like, all I was trying to do is, just let it go. Because if you are calling yourself being the fixer-upper, trying to hold this person accountable, and no one else in their world is holding them accountable, no need for you to try to hold them accountable. You see them. Everybody else see it too. You ain't the only one. Okay, sis. Okay, so Inga, when you try to walk away, yeah, that's my response to that, Callie. You can try to walk away, but you have to close the door. And if this is a person that you share children with, keep the conversation just about the kids. If they try to switch it to, what you do today, took care of your kids. What you doing tomorrow, taking care of your kids. Everything will be about the kids. Okay? Everything about the kids. Don't ask me nothing about me. Talk about them kids. When you come get your kids. That's all. Now, if you ain't got no kids with this person, girl, I don't know, because I would not be talking to them no more. If you're going to stress me out, make me sad, make me cry, I ain't going to do all of that. I got to go. Because I got kids. Okay? You say, yeah, I'm working on that, holding grudges. There has been a lot of improvement, but still work to do. And the first part of it all, Inga, is that you even recognize it. And even if you used to be a person that will hold a grudge for a month and you drop down to holding a grudge for 2 weeks, that's growth, sis. And yeah, so you said you got, and we all got work to do. I got work to do with my mouth, and not just running it. And when I say running, I'm talking about running it like talking to y'all. I'm talking about running it like whoo, almost with the words, but I'm learning how to be a better person. So I got growth to do too. So hey, sister, Life with Paulette, Simple Me, greetings. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. Sister A Brown, you said good morning, Sister A Brown. So yes, y'all, that's the conversation we had today. Later today, we will be having a conversation. It's going to be an open conversation. It's going to be like a Friday night open convo episode. This would be our second one. I'm thinking about coming on about 6 o'clock, so that way we can have like a good hour and a half show, because I know some other channels go live, around like 7:30 and onward. So I probably will, make it for 6:30, and we'll come on. We'll just have an open conversation. We could talk about anything: parenting, motherhood, faith, personal growth, wellness, anything like that. So you all come back and join me today at 6:30. I love you guys so much. Now I gotta go in here and work this job. I like my job, y'all, but today I wanted to lay in the bed. Go back to sleep, sis. I love you. I love you all. It's 11 of y'all watching. Can everyone here double tap the screen and like the video, please? I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, sisters. Callie, do you have my email? But if you ever need to talk to anybody, I'm gonna give you my number. You can always call me, sis, if you ever need to talk to somebody. Oh, how the ribs came out. They came out so good. Hey, Shelly. Hey, Shelly. We ended it, Shelly. You're going to have to watch it on the replay, sis, and put your comments in. Look, my sisters, listen, they watched the video. Shelly, Life with Paulette, Bless, Dina Cole. I love it. Y'all all leave me comments. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, like, my sisters, y'all really do be coming through and watching the content and leaving in y'all comments. And that's what Shelly be saying. She's like, I watched the video. Yeah, I'm going to go in and put my comments in. I'm going to go in and put my comments in. Yes, sister. I just love it. So hey, Shelly, you're gonna have to play it back so you can put your comments in. Yes. So yes, supporting. I love it. I love it. All y'all support me. All y'all support me. All y'all support me. Y'all really do. But anyway, brother, the ribs turned out good. Now I did use pork ribs, so that's something I'm gonna have to freeze and cook it another day, because I don't want to eat pork too much back to back. But they came out real good. They were tender. I called my uncle, and he told me not to boil them. He said, you ain't gotta boil them, because I didn't put them on a grill, y'all. I put them in the oven. So I cooked them in an oven for 3 hours, and they turned out so good. They turned out so good. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, so yes, Callie, I think I have your email. I will send you my phone number, and I will check on you. That's me, girl. I'm gonna check. Now I ain't gonna tell you now. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna be having long conversations, and I know you can't even have a long conversations because you got kids. So, girl, I gotta go into this building, sis. I gotta go to work, but I will check on you, and I will say, hey, sis, just checking on you. You came across my mind. That's my go-to, but it's the truth. Like, when I think about you, I'm gonna check on you, and I will reach out to you and check on you and stuff like that, and make sure you're doing all right. So, I'm already late, y'all. Okay, I'm already late, so I gotta go. But I love you. Shelly, you can watch it on the playback. It's about 50 minutes long, so you'll have plenty of you'll have a good little bit to watch back. But anyway, I love y'all. I'm gonna go on to this building. I'm gonna go on to the next thing. Thank you. Y'all love this blue. Y'all like the blue. Y'all giving me my props on this blue now. I'm gonna have to wear blue every day. I love it. Thank you guys. Inga, as soon as Inga came on, Inga was like, oh, you look, I like that blue, sis. I'm like, thank you, sis. I'm trying to be humble now. No, all jokes aside, thank you everyone for your compliments and everything. Hey, $2.99. Let's go. Let's now, Shelly. No, don't make me sit on here a little bit longer now. Let me stop. I do gotta go. Y'all. But thank you, Sister Shelly, for your blessing to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all my new members of the channel. I really do appreciate you. As we continue to build, we'll be doing more, content and stuff for members only. We got to build it up. So once we get to a certain threshold, we can start producing some content for members only. I got the time on my hands, so why not? But I love you guys. You guys really did make my morning. It's a very gloomy, overcast day, but sharing my time with you guys is always a good thing. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please come back and see me today at 6, maybe 6:30. We'll have a good conversation. It'll be open conversation. I'll drop the link in the chat. You guys can come up and just have a good little time. And depending on what the topic is, we may just be live, and then once the live is over, I'll put the video on private, so that way, depending on what topics were discussed, it's not out to the the full public. Nonetheless, y'all, I love y'all, and I'll see you today at 6 o'clock. Bye.